Hi, it's me, Kim Reads Urantia. So I'm here to read to you from the Urantia book, but first, Light the Flame by Andrew Harvey, April 23rd. This is a Sufi prayer by Andrew Harvey. Okay, and you know, Sufis, they're a sect, a more mystical sect of Islam. Okay. So burn me through, beloved, with the infinite fire of your love, that I may become your brazier ablaze with sacred passion for all creation. Okay, again, in this we see the purifying fire and the facing the pain or the fear that comes with transformation. We have to, it's not really a sacrifice. It's like facing something that seems threatening to us. And most of the time, you know, it's okay. It's that confrontation or that apology that you have to make, or you have to admit that, oh yeah, it was me. I did it. I'm sorry, you know. But whatever we're put through there, that is what unburdens us of guilt, of the shame that we're feeling as a part of our weaknesses, and purges that from us. And then we're lifted after we're purified by that fire. So burn me through, beloved God. Okay, so then when we seek that fire, okay, we find ourselves actually seeking that purification, then we know that we're coming along. You're doing okay. You're actually seeking that, right? Excellent. Okay. Waterloo, blackberry, black cherry. Yeah, good stuff. That fuzzy water that has the flavor in it. No calories. Just a little bit of refreshing carbonation, right? Yeah, I'm not talking to this person. Okay, so this is part 1. Yeah, this is paper 1 of part 1, the 5th section, personality of the universal Father. Personality of the universal Father. Okay, so the idea that the universal Father or God has a personality, this was a huge step for me. And one of the things that was initially pretty jarring when I first read this book, and because I'd previously, you know, I've been a Taoist, and I thought of God as like a flow of energy, like the Force, the Star Wars, may the Force be with you, all that. No, it's this, yeah, live long and prosper, yeah. Okay, so I thought of it that way. I didn't think of God in a personal terms. I didn't feel that God cared about me, and if he does, I mean, it was like I was his toy or his like little amusement or something like that. I couldn't get around that. I couldn't fathom that God could love, because only a person can have these feelings of devotion and loyalty, and I didn't know that. I didn't feel that. And also, you know, if a person, to me, it means that you're distinct from other people. You have a distinctness, right? is what personality means. But God is also pervasive. He's in everything. So how can he be both of those things at the same time, right? And if you're a distinct person, it makes sense that there are other people, other that you have peers, that you have people that are like you have people above you and below you. So it's what's hard for me is to detach all those notions from this idea of God being a person. Instead, I'm trying to think of God as being the number one, which is one singular unity, the first being, but one is a distinct number from other numbers, but one is in everything because it's a factor of every other number. Okay, so I'm trying to get, math, I got to tell you folks, all you mathematicians out there, God bless you folks because you help me understand God. Okay? So I think of the number 0 as being like the sleeping God or the unqualified absolute, where nothing is real, everything is potential. Okay. But 1 is the first act of realization when God is is awake and looks at itself and is able to say, I am God, I am. Okay. Right. Okay. And then 2 and 3 are like the Son and the Spirit, like the only 2 prime numbers that are ever next to each other. Right, kind of thing. God, my nose itches. I'm sorry, all the time. I should get an air purifier or something. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to read this to you, all right? I'm tired. Sometimes I go on too much. I don't know. I just go on as much as I feel like going on. And you know what? I scratch my nose as much as I feel like scratching my nose, okay? I'm going to get a tissue. Okay? All right. Okay. And I love my kitty cats. I do. And I drink Waterloo. Yeah, and I made a poem. Did you notice that? Okay, here I go. Personality of the Universal Father. Do not permit the magnitude of God, his infinity, either to obscure or eclipse his personality. He who planned the ear, shall he not hear? He who formed the eye, shall he not see? The Universal Father is the acme of divine personality. He is the origin and destiny of personality throughout all creation. God is both infinite and personal. He is an infinite personality. The Father is truly a personality, notwithstanding that the infinity of his person places him forever beyond the full comprehension of material and finite beings. God is much more than a personality. His personality is understood by the human mind. He is even far more than any possible concept of a superpersonality. But it is utterly futile to discuss such incomprehensible concepts of divine personality with the minds of material creatures whose maximum concept of the reality of being consists in the idea and ideal of personality. The material creature's highest possible concept of the universal creator is embraced within the spiritual ideals of the exalted idea of divine personality. See, and I'm a little different than that because I'm a Taoist, so I didn't first conceive of God as a personality. I think a lot of people in Eastern religions think of that God as like a flow or an energy. Right. Yeah. Okay. Therefore, although you may know that God must be much more than the human conception of personality, yes, you equally well know that the universal Father cannot possibly be anything less than an eternal, infinite, true, good, and beautiful personality. Okay. Yep. So he's nothing less than a personality. So my idea was that being a person automatically makes him less. But I think that's different than standard approach within this culture. They first make him a personality and then elevate him from there. I think that's my perception anyway, but do it however it works for you, Hans. God is not hiding from any of his creatures. He is unapproachable to so many orders of beings only because he dwells in a light which no material creature can approach. Right. So God is so luminous that we can't see him in our or we'd be burnt up. I'm reminded here of the myth of the birth of Dionysus, how Zeus used to fool around with all the mortal women, right? Okay, so he fooled around with Dionysus's mother. I can't remember her name. What was her name? Anyway, Dionysus's mother, right? So to conceive Dionysus, the Greek god of wine, but Hera, his wife, jealous wife, finds out, and she's all mad. So she goes and pretends to be an old lady and tries to make friends with Dionysus's mother and tells her and puts these seeds of suspicion in her, and it's like because she says, "Oh, who's the father of your baby? Oh, Zeus is the father of your baby." It's like then the old lady goes, "Oh, sure, it was Zeus. It probably wasn't really Zeus. You need to ask him really to show himself to you in all his glory, and then you'll know for sure that it's really Zeus is the father of your baby." So Dionysus's mother thinks about this and she says, "Well, I'll ask him to do that." So she asks Zeus in a way that um, that he can't deny her request because he really loves her. And she asks him, "Well, if you love me, you'll give me anything I desire, right?" And she says, "Of course, I promise, I swear on the holy Mount Olympus or whatever, I'll give you whatever you desire." And she says, show yourself to me in all of your glory. And so he says, "Change your wish, please, please. You don't understand. Change your wish." She says, "No, I ain't gonna change my wish." So he has to do that. And then of course she catches on fire. She catches on fire and dies. She's just burnt up. And he's able to rescue the baby because the baby is divine too, right? And instead of a womb, that baby is sewn into Zeus's thigh or something weird like that. So that's the story of Dionysus. But yeah, we can't know God in all of this splendor. It would, because we're not pure. We're not holy. Yeah, the immensity and grandeur of the divine personality is beyond the grasp of the unperfected mind of evolutionary mortals. He measures the waters in the hollow of his hand, measures a universe with the span of his hand. It is he who sits on the circle of the earth. who stretches out the heavens as a curtain and spreads them out as a universe to dwell in. Lift up your eyes on high and behold who has created all these things, who brings out their worlds by number and calls them all by their names. And so it is true that the invisible things of God are partially understood by the things which are made. Today, and as you are, you must discern the invisible Maker through his manifold and diverse creation, as well as through the revelation and ministration of his sons and their numerous subordinates. That's one thing I've always tried to do, is to understand God through creation, mostly through nature. And the deeper aspects of human nature too, but mostly through nature. And nature is regenerative. It's and it's cyclical, and it's colorful. It's diverse. It's really great. It's magnificent. It's nourishing, and it nourishes itself, and it nourishes everything else. So, okay, so I'm just beginning on this path of understanding God through written revelation. Okay. Yeah, okay. Even though material mortals cannot see the person of God, they should rejoice in the assurance that he is a person. By faith, accept the truth which portrays that the universal Father so loved the world as to provide for the eternal spiritual progression of its lowly inhabitants, that he delights in his children. God is lacking in none of those superhuman and divine attributes which constitute a perfect, eternal, loving, and infinite creator personality. Okay, so I think of an artist. God is like an artist creating all of us, and all of nature. And not only, he creates us and he imprints us with attributes and knowledge and yearnings and but then the artist actually diminishes himself and goes into the painting. So we are these flat, two-dimensional beings. God, in the form of his creator son, diminishes himself so that he can walk around in two-dimensional land, right, with us, and tries to show us this way that we can get out of the picture and become three-dimensional realities like he is, and expand our world like that. That's the feeling that I get to. I like that image, like this Bob Ross guy. Bob Ross makes the happy little trees and the little birds and then goes into the picture and wanders around and say, well, isn't this nice? Isn't this good? And then finds the people there in that little place that he painted, and what he intended to be, all these things that he intended. And he says, well, you know what? You can come out of the painting too if you want. You can come back in here anytime, but I'll show you how to get out of here. And they're going like, but this is the only thing. This is everything. What are you talking about? How can I get out of the painting? The painting is everything. This is the world, the whole thing. And he's saying, no, this isn't the whole thing. There's a whole bunch of stuff out there. I'll show you if you follow me. And it's going like, what are you talking about? Who is this? And everybody's scared. So I think that's really cool. Anyway, that's my own conceptualization. I hope you like it. To keep going. In the local creations, accepting the personnel of the super universes, God has no personal or residential manifestation aside from the paradise creator sons, who are the fathers of the inhabited worlds and the sovereigns of the local universes. If the faith of the creature were perfect, he would assuredly know that when he had seen a creator son, he had seen the universal Father. In seeking for the Father, he would not ask nor expect to see other than the Son. Right, because the Son is the 2D representation of the Father. Right. So, but the Father still is more than the Son. Mortal man simply cannot see God until he achieves completed spirit transformation and actually attains paradise. The natures of the paradise creator sons do not encompass all the unqualified potentials of the universal absoluteness of the infinite nature of the first great source and center. But the universal Father is in every way divinely present in the creator sons. Right. Right. So the natures of the paradise creator sons do not encompass all of the unqualified potentials of the universal absoluteness of the infinite nature of the first great source and center, but the universal Father is in every way divinely present in the creator sons. The Father and his sons are one. These paradise sons of the order of Michael are perfect personalities, even the pattern for all local universe personality, from that of the bright and morning star down to the lowest human creature of progressing animal evolution. So yeah, it's just what I said. The Father is more than the sons, but the creator sons are the simplest manifestation of the Father that we humans are capable of witnessing, of seeing. Without God and except for his great and central person, there would be no personality throughout all the vast universe of universes. God is personality. Okay, so God is personality. The number one, the very first number before we had an idea of counting anything. So then we started to count things. But one is the first number, right? And then from there, we get an idea that, okay, we can have 2, 3, 4, 5, we can have all these things. But the first thing is something is or not. It is a thing. It is a thing. It's a separate thing in itself. The number one kind of thing. All right. Notwithstanding that God is an eternal power, a majestic presence, a transcendent ideal, and a glorious spirit, though he is all these and infinitely more, nonetheless, he is truly and everlastingly a perfect creator personality, a person who can know and be known, who can love and be loved, and one who can befriend us. Well, you can be known as other humans have been known as the friend of God. He is a real spirit and a spiritual reality. So God can be our friend. God is all this. He can love and be loved. He can know and be known. See, and that's just really weird, but okay. Okay, I'm dealing with that. As we see the universal Father revealed throughout his universe, as we discern him indwelling his myriads of creatures, as we behold him in the persons of his sovereign sons, As we continue to sense his divine presence here and there, near and afar, let us not doubt nor question his personality primacy. Okay, let's not doubt it. Let's just believe it. Notwithstanding all these far-flung distributions, he remains a true person and everlastingly maintains personal connection with the countless hosts of his creatures scattered throughout the universe of universes. The idea of the personality of the universal Father is an enlarged and truer concept of God, which has come to mankind chiefly through revelation. Reason, wisdom, and religious experience all infer and imply the personality of God, but they do not altogether validate it. Even the indwelling thought adjuster is pre-personal. The truth and maturity of any religion is directly proportional to its concept of the infinite personality of God and to its grasp of the absolute unity of deity. The idea of a personal deity becomes then the measure of religious maturity after religion has first formulated the concept of the unity of God. Okay, let's go back and unpack that a little bit. Okay. Okay, so this is a advanced concept of God. So reason, wisdom, and religious experience all infer and imply the personality of God, but they don't validate it. Okay, so it was hard for me to get the personality of God. Okay, they say God loves us. Okay, and that's an inference to God's personality, but that just doesn't say God is a personality. Even the indwelling thought adjuster is pre-personal. Okay, well, that's the closest part of God to us, and it's pre-personal. Maybe that has something to do with why it's hard to deal with God as a personality. The truth and maturity of any religion is directly proportional to its concept of the infinite personality of God and to its grasp on the absolute unity of deity. Okay, so how well we're able to conceive of God as a personality is the measure of religious maturity. Okay, interesting. That's interesting. So how well we're able to, I have to confess that I still don't feel comfortable like just talking with God. I mean, I do it, but I feel more comfortable just, our Father who art in heaven thing. Okay, but just say, hey, God, I'm having a good day. I did this today. And of course, you know that. And I'm really glad that you're my dad and stuff. That feels really weird to me. I have to work on getting used to that more. Okay. Primitive religion had many personal gods, and they were fashioned in the image of man. But this wasn't a unified God. This was a lot of different aspects of God. It wasn't a unified God. That's why monotheism is ahead of polytheism. Okay, Revelation affirms the validity of the personality concept of God, which is merely possible in the scientific postulate of a first cause and is only provisionally suggested in the philosophic idea of universal unity. Only by personality approach can any person begin to comprehend the unity of God as opposed to all these various Zeus and Hera and Dionysus, like I was talking about. Okay. To deny the personality of the first source and center leaves one only the choice of two philosophic dilemmas, materialism or pantheism. Okay. You know, it just came to me. Zeus, Dionysus's mother's name was Semele. Semele. I don't know how you say that. Semele or Semele. I don't know. I don't know why that came. Just did. Okay. In the contemplation of deity, the concept of personality must be divested of the idea of corporeality. So personality is not associated with my body. It's bigger than that. Okay, a material body is not indispensable to personality in either man nor God. It's not. Material body is not indispensable. The corporality error is shown in both extremes of human philosophy. In materialism, since man loses his body at death, he ceases to exist as a personality. In pantheism, since God has no body, he is not, therefore, a person. Aha! So we are not associate personality with body, either positively or negatively. The superhuman type of progressing personality functions in a union of mind and spirit. Okay, so personality is not, doesn't need a body. Personality is not simply an attribute of God. It rather stands for the totality of the coordinated infinite nature and the unified divine will, which is exhibited in eternity and universality of perfect expression. Personality, in the supreme sense, is the revelation of God to the universe of universes. It's the revelation of God to the universe of universes. Okay? So personality here, now I studied astrology, okay? So in astrology, the sun is associated with your personality, which is your outermost superficial aspect. I think so that's how I'm used to thinking of personality. That's your superficial aspect. It's not your deeper hidden, your deeper self. But here they're defining personality, or the implication is that personality is a unifying factor. It's not simply an attribute, it stands as the totality of the coordinated infinite nature and the unified divine will. So it's something much more fundamental. It's like an identity. It doesn't have as much to do with, it can encompass like how I relate to the external world around me, but it has to do with my own fundamental aspects of my being. Okay, so that's how this is changing. It's like my person, I think a better word for personality here, the way they're describing it, would be like personhood. It's like, yes, you are a self-conscious, spiritually evolving entity. And your personality is the fiber that connects your spirit and your mind. Union of mind and spirit. Okay, progressing personality connects the mind and the spirit, my higher and my lower being. Okay, so it's kind of deep. Okay, so we have to think of personality as regards to Urantia book in a more fundamental way. It's a more fundamental part of our being. God, being eternal, universal, absolute, and infinite, does not grow in knowledge or increase in wisdom. God does not acquire experience. Okay? As finite man might conjecture or comprehend, but he does, within the realms of his own eternal personality, enjoy those continuous expansions of self realization, which are in certain ways comparable to and analogous with the acquirement of new experience by the finite creatures of the evolutionary worlds. So he doesn't grow, he doesn't have new experiences, but he likes to watch us have new experiences, kind of by proxy. Right. He enjoys continuous expansions of self-realization, which are in certain ways comparable to and analogous with the acquirement of new experience by the finite creatures of the evolutionary worlds. The absolute perfection of the infinite God would cause him to suffer the awful limitations of unqualified finality of perfectness, were it not a fact that the universal Father directly participates in the personality struggle of every imperfect soul in the wide universe, who seeks by divine aid to ascend to the spiritually perfect worlds on high. This progressive experience of every spirit being and every mortal creature throughout the universe of universes is a part of the Father's ever expanding deity consciousness of the never-ending divine circle of ceaseless self-realization. Yeah. Okay, so there we have again the concept of God escaping this perfection, this limitations of being perfect, to expand out here and put his thought adjusters in us and to be with us as we move forward. So that's even that I can imagine, you know, it's so interesting. It just occurred to me that despite, all of the like perfectness, there'd be no adventure, there'd be no pain. There'd be no pain. There wouldn't be a lot of joy. There'd be peace. There'd be just serenity. Okay? But God chose to leave that in favor of being able to have both pleasure and pain, and joy and suffering. And I think he does experience that, or he doesn't really experience as like we do, but he like participates in this with us somehow. Yeah. But that's preferable to this world of nothing. Just, you know. But yet our own spiritual traditions and in a lot of ways seek us tell us to seek this peace and this void, the nothing, and then to leave all these turmoils behind. So I think that's in a way that's we are seeking for God, we're seeking the peace and that just this placidity of like not being able to be disturbed. But at the same time, God is seeking us and descending from this high plateau of just being perfect God and descending into our world of joy and suffering and pain and pleasure, Okay, I'm going to finish up here. I'm keeping you over time. It is literally true. In all your afflictions, he is afflicted. Okay. In all your triumphs, he triumphs in and with you. His pre-personal divine spirit is a real part of you. The Isle of Paradise responds to all the physical metamorphoses of the universe of universes. The eternal sun includes all the spirit impulses of all creation. The conjoint actor encompasses all the mind expression of the expanding cosmos. The Universal Father realizes in the fullness of the divine consciousness all the individual experience of the progressive struggles of the expanding minds and the ascending spirits of every entity, being, and personality of the whole evolutionary creation of time and space. And all this is literally true, for in him we all live and move and have our being. Wonderful. Okay, God is with us and in us and through us and of us, right? No, this one is here. Okay, well, I'm going to leave you now. And tomorrow we'll do the next part. Okay? Okay, thank you very much for being with me. Have a good day. Bye.